Hello, my name's Andy Rasman. I'm the pastor at Oak Road Lutheran Church in Lilburn, Georgia. This video will be looking at best practices for greeting people at church. You think it should be simple, but there can be a lot of complexities and nuances to how to best greet someone and have things set up. I mean, just having visitors come in and just hoping that someone's going to say hi to them and things work out well, maybe the best plan. That would be more, I guess, organic and natural. But sometimes people coming in that have never been to church, just walking in the door, it's a foreign place to them, right? Sometimes it's nice to be greeted and have hospitality and be guided. But sometimes people can be overbearing. So I put together a greeter plan for our church and thought I would share this online for people at our church to that missed the meeting, that were part of the greeter team, or just so the whole congregation can be aware of what the greeter team has been told, as well as just putting it out there for others that are doing searches, because that's what I did. I searched for best ways to greet people, both just on like Google and DuckDuckGo to see articles, but then also on YouTube I did this, and a lot of what I'm sharing comes from a man named Chris Abbott, a pastor. He has a lot of videos along this type of thing, so look up Chris Abbott if you want to see more of this. But this is kind of a compilation and taking of things I researched online and putting it into our context. So here we go. Something that we are adding at our church is a plan your visit for our church website. So many people, before they visit your church physically in person, they will visit your church digitally, online, either through your social media or through your website. And so what we are adding this year is a plan your visit option. So and really the website's for the non-member most of the time, right? Members aren't usually getting their data online about your church. They're getting it in person, they're getting it in handouts, they're getting it in emails, text blasts, things like that. Word of mouth from being in person. The website's not usually for the member. It's for the visitor. It's for the person that is looking at your church to visit. So we're going to have a plan your visit, and what this does is it gives the opportunity for the person to let us know they're coming, right? So it can be a very warm greeting. It can be a page that tells everything a first-time visitor would need to know about how we dress, what to expect, musically, service, length of service, pictures, lots of pictures so they can see what's going on. Frequently asked questions that we could answer, and just an opportunity for us to know you're coming so we can warmly greet you and get you settled comfortably. So this is good because it means we will know who's coming, hopefully, if they do this, what service they plan on coming to, what date. We'll have their name. We'll ask for preferred contact so we can reach out to them. Hey, we got that you're coming. Look forward to meeting you. And whoever the assigned greeter or greeters are that day, we will text them and say, so-and-so will be greeting you, right? And then we'll tell so-and-so, hey, we just got notification. Matt is coming to church for the first time, and if there's a box of any questions or things you'd like for us to know, we could say, yeah, he's new to Georgia. He's new to this town. He grew up Lutheran, or he's never been to a Lutheran church, but he's seen X, Y, or Z from our church and liked it, or something along those lines, or even like, hey, so-and-so invited me. Could be nice. All right, so I think that will help a lot. Next, just for our church greeter location and time, stand near the entrance near our AED or on the other adjacent side of that entry. If the weather's good, maybe stand outside. Feel free to hold the door open. Be at your greeter location at least 15 minutes before the service begins. What I've seen is that sometimes our Sunday school ends at 10:30. Our second service starts at 10:45. If a greeter is in Sunday school, it ends at 10:30. By the time they say bye to people, when the study runs long, an extra minute or two as well, puts their coffee away, that sort of thing, says bye to people. By the time they get to their station, maybe visitors have already come in. So if you're in Sunday school or teaching Sunday school or involved in something else before the service, you have to potentially end it early in order to be there at your assigned spot, 15 minutes early at least. And if you can't do that, then probably not be a greeter. All right, because I have seen where 15 minutes before, our entry area is usually not that occupied because people are in Sunday school before that time. And so if a visitor comes 15 minutes early, there's maybe no one there to greet them. I have heard this where a family visiting for the first time is basically in our entryway with no one there. So we want to eliminate that. What to say when meeting someone you don't know. Okay, so it can be awkward. Sometimes you think you should know someone and you don't, or you know they're a member and they've been here a long time, and it's just awkward at this point. They know your name, you don't know theirs. Or if you're afraid they're a first time visitor or not, right? You don't want to just lead with, "Hey, are you new? I haven't met you." And the person's like, "Hey, I've been a member for 5 years," or, "Hey, I've been a member, but I haven't been here in 3 years. I'm just coming back." Like, it can sometimes be off-putting. Also, just don't lead with, "Hey, are you new?" Or, "Is this your first time?" Because a first-time visitor hasn't been to church forever could be a little intimidated or awkward by hearing that, because it could be, "Hey, is it that obvious that I'm new? Did I dress wrong? Did I say something? Did I do something that's that clear that I don't belong here?" Right? That could be what they're thinking. So we want to be more greeting by that. You just introduce yourself if you're a greeter. "Hi, my name is. I don't think we've met. What's your name?" If you just say, "Hey, my name is," there's a good chance they will follow up with their name. But if you're kind of interested, like, "Did I meet the person? Should I know the person? Hey, I don't think we've met. What's your name?" And then the follow-up, instead of asking, "Are you new here?" when you think they're new, you could say, "How long have you been coming to Oak Road?" And then you'll find out this is your first time, or, "I've been coming here for this long." And then from there, how to continue with your greeting and welcoming and hospitality. A lot of this could be removed if people do use the plan your visit option, which I'm hoping they will do. First-time visitor, things to ask. How did God bring you to Oak Road today? I think is a good question. Do you know anyone at Oak Road? This will give you a lot of insight on what they're here for. Have you been to a Lutheran church before? And sometimes that first question, "How did God bring you to Oak Road?" "Well, I'm Lutheran. I just moved to town. This is the nearest Lutheran church. I'm obviously want to jump right in, but it could be, I live nearby and I drive by your church a lot and I see you have a lot going on, and I can tell you're a community-based church," or, "Hey, I vote at this church," because you guys have voting. These are things that could be realistic for us, or, my kids do Boy Scouts here, things like that. Can give you an insight, and then well, have you been to a Lutheran church before? How did God bring you here? Can let you know, maybe is the person a believer, not a believer? What are they looking for, right? So you can better tend to their needs. If they've never been to a Lutheran church, you may want to help them out more, right? Because depending on where they've been to before, our service may be quite different than what they're used to, and you can do some explaining that. Do you have any questions about our church or our service? Is a really good question. If there's an elder nearby that you can introduce them to, this could be a good question for the elder. So if you see an elder nearby and the elder assigned on duty for that service should be there 15 minutes early, that's something they're tasked with, you can greet them. "Hey, I'd like for you to meet our elder today," introduce them, and do they have any questions about service? Could be something that the elder could then take them along and help them with. "Is there anything I can help you with before or after the service?" Maybe go ahead. "No, I can't think of it." "Okay, well, here's the bathrooms." Let them know where the bathrooms are. Let them know where water fountains are. Let them know where a coffee station is, that they're welcome to go ahead and get coffee. They're welcome to bring it into the sanctuary, that sort of thing. First-time visitor, things to do. These are not necessarily in chronological order. You need to fill it out as you interact with the individual. Let them know you're glad God has brought them to church today. I'd say that's number one, okay? Even maybe before you ask them questions, when you find out that they're a first-time visitor, "Well, I'm glad God brought you to church today," and then ask some of those other questions that I recommended. Drop your role at the greeting location and take care of the visitor until they have a bulletin and have been introduced to someone else and comfortable and have no questions or needs to be met. Most of the people coming in our church are going to be regular attenders. So if you are a greeter and a visitor comes in, go ahead and feel free to leave your location and take care of that guest until they have everything they need. And for us at our church, getting a bulletin is very important. It shows pretty much everything we're doing in the service, what we're saying. We don't have screens to project lyrics and things like that. So very, very key. After some initial greetings and questions, let them know we use a printed order of service in a church bulletin. Let me introduce you to our usher who hands them out. And then, so maybe they can meet an elder, meet an usher. They already start to know people and begin to feel acquainted. And those team members are also being trained on greeting and things to say. Let them know that bulletins are on the Welcome Center too. If the usher isn't present at that time for some reason, like I said, introduce them to an elder, preferably the elder on duty for that day. The elder can likely go through the service with them and ask if they have any questions, okay? Because, hey, have you ever been to a church? No, you haven't? Okay, well, let me show you just kind of the order of the service and what to expect and why we do the things that we do here. Could make their time a lot better with us. Introduce them to me, right? If I'm not available before the service when you're greeting and initially helping the visitor, be sure to let me know at some point, before the start of the service, who the visitors are, and if I should be aware of anything about them that you've learned. Introduce them to a member that you recognize to be friendly and extroverted, who you expect would love to get to know a visitor and make them feel welcome. Those extroverted, bubbly people, they love to meet new people, love to greet people. Ask if they would like someone to sit with during the service, right? Or if they would rather just find their own seat. Some people would rather just kind of, no, I'd rather be a fly on the wall. Some people would rather get right in and be walked alongside someone and be a part of the gathered body of believers, right? Help introduce them to someone who you know would be a good guide through the service, okay? Orient them to our facilities. Let them know where the bathrooms are. Let them know they can help themselves to coffee or tea at the coffee bar. If they have kids and are at the 10:45 a.m. service, let them know that there is a children's church service, that the kids are dismissed to attend during the sermon time of the service. Let them know that they need to be picked up during the time for communion, if we're having communion that day, because we bring the kids forward for a blessing. Offer to show them the room the kids will have children's church and walk them there, right? So if we don't have that exchange beforehand and their kids come up for the children's church service, and I'm like, okay, kids, you're dismissed to go to children's church with Miss Ashley until, as long as your grandparents or guardians or parents are good with that. It's a little awkward at that exchange because the kids are like, I think I'm supposed to leave with the other kids. But the visitor's like, well, where are you taking my kid and who is watching them? So if we can sort all that out beforehand, it would be great. And obviously, if they used to plan your visit, a lot of this will be sorted out beforehand. It won't be crunch time. We can just be more relaxed getting to know them. But they should know where their kid is. Show them the room beforehand if they have kids. If you see Miss Ashley, for our church, Miss Ashley, that leads that time, introduce them to her before the service or during the greeting time. If you don't see Miss Ashley, introduce them to the children's church assistant for the day. And all the assistants are listed in our bulletin who is serving that day. So make sure, if you're a greeter, orient yourself with that bulletin that lists who the children's church assistant is, who the elder for the day is. Let an elder or pastor discuss communion with the visitor. You don't need to do that. Just leave the communion discussion to myself or to an elder. Speak positively about our church. Share what you love about Oak Road. I have seen this. We have 2 services. Sometimes a couple may come to the church and they may be younger, right? And I've heard like greeters will say, hey, you may like to go to our other service because it's more contemporary, more when there's younger people there. And it's like, well, you're kind of downputting the service that they came to attend before they've even gone through the service, right? So let's avoid that. Sometimes such individuals, they've probably been on our website. They may know what's at each service and have intentionally chosen to come to the first service because maybe it is more traditional. But speak positively about our church, and make sure they know, what you like about it. Try to say goodbye to them after the service. If you greeted a first-time visitor after the service, try to reconnect with them, say bye, ask if they have any questions or things you can help them with. Offer to show them around the church if they would like a tour. If you're not assigned to be a greeter, but you see no greeter is at the greeter location, please step in to serve. If you see that a greeter is welcoming a visitor and has left the greeter location to provide the best hospitality to the first-time visitor, please step in to serve at the greeter location until the assigned greeter has returned. If you see a pattern of an assigned greeter missing days or showing up late consistently, please let me know, and I can reach out to that individual. First-time visitors. When you have a first-time visitor and you're a greeter, there are certain things that you should not do, just as there are things you should do. So let's not encourage people to go to a different service. I already mentioned that before the service they came to has even taken place. Don't assume that they might prefer a certain service over another one. Don't describe our second service or 10:45 a.m. service as less traditional or not as traditional. Okay, so our first and third Sundays of the month, we use the same exact bulletins and the same music. Okay, the music's identical. All right, except the 10:45 a.m. service has a choir anthem on that first and third Sunday. The second and fourth Sundays are now using the liturgy's confession and absolution and the collect, the three scripture readings, the creed, the Lord's Prayer. We're using all those elements. It's just instead of singing the Kyrie, we sing a worship song of some sort. And oftentimes we still are using hymns from our hymnal in that second and fourth Sundays. It's just that they're being played by a band with the band arrangement. So it's still a mix of hymns that some of them are hundreds of years old, just in a modern context with the band. Okay, and then we also have some other songs that some people in our church have written, and others that we are bringing in from other sources and locations. But it's still very, I guess you could say, traditional, because we still have confession, absolution, creeds. It's following the same divine service liturgy orders, what we're doing now on the second and fourth Sundays. So in many ways, it's still very traditional. Many visitors, again, they've already been on our website. They've chosen which service to attend to. Keep that in mind. Let's not invite them to Bible studies and family night and so many other activities, okay? Leave such invitations and information to Pastor Andy and the follow-up visitor team, which is something else we're going to be putting together. Unless the visitor asks for specific activities or opportunities, let them just come, experience the worship. Well, and I bring this up because what I've seen at our church is I can be talking to someone and just doing that, like, get to know you, build some rapport. How'd the Lord bring you here today? Oh, you just moved. Where'd you move from? Well, what brought you here? Figuring things out. Well, what's your church life? How long have you known the Lord? That type of stuff. And I'm trying to just build this rapport. Did you have any question about the service? We're talking about the sermon, even what they liked about the sermon, what they heard, how they were touched by it. Having this conversation and people come up, well, Pastor, did you invite them to the men's Bible study on Saturday mornings, the men's breakfast? And it's like, no, I haven't done that yet. And you're actually the second member to interject that during the same conversation, which is great. People love the men's breakfast, but do you know if they get invited 2 to 3 to 4 times to just the men's breakfast because they're a man and they're a first-time visitor, they're going to get the hint that unless I'm part of this men's breakfast on Saturday mornings, which is a time they may or may not be able to attend, they're going to get the impression this is very important. And that may be even more important than coming to the Sunday church. If I don't go to this, am I even going to be a part of this church and woman's church? So let's not just harp on this, because you don't know what the person's thinking, what their commitments are, what their schedules are. Figure out what they work. Sometimes I've had people come and invite them to things, and I'm like, I just found out that I've already found out their work schedule, and they work nights. They're not going to be available for anything you just invite them to. You need to be inviting them to this other time. So just let it kind of come more naturally. We don't want them to feel as if to be a part of the church they must not just come to church on Sunday, but be connected to all these other points. Let's just make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're welcomed. Again, they've probably visited our church's website. They already know all the Bible studies that we have. They're on the website. The times are on the website. Our social ministries are on the website. Things I have heard, though, more welcoming to the first-time visitor is to, you can just say, hey, well, we do have studies and we do have social ministries. We're very active in the community to serve those in need. Say that, and then let them see what they're interested in. Okay. Well, do you have anything at this time? Do you have anything at this time? That's what I have encountered with people. And so it can help us to better connect with them. I'm not going to say if you're a greeter, don't invite them to these things. Play it by the Holy Spirit, how you feel led. But let's focus more on getting to know the person and less on feeding them invitations to the next event. Okay. Let's not just focus on the next thing, but let's be present and care to their current needs and how they're at the church for the first time and what God's doing in their life to bring them there. Don't speak in negative or condescending ways about our church, okay? Don't speak in negative or condescending ways about other churches. If you start to bash on some Baptist churches, example, someone's like, my father-in-law is a Baptist pastor. So you just already turned someone off, right? Or if you start to bash on some other churches, like, well, that's what I grew up in, right? Or that's what my spouse actually grew up in, and that's not like appealing to them. Okay? Things to do to prepare in advance for your sign greeter day. Look through the church directory. Familiarize yourself with names and faces. This is very key, okay? If there's people you don't know, go through the church directory. Find their name, find their face, memorize them so that when they come in, you know them if you don't already know that. Make sure you know all the elders at our church. Check to see who the elder on duty is for the day. It's posted in the bulletin. We also have a listing of all the names of all the elders in the church by the entry to the sanctuary and their contact information and what families are assigned to those elders. All that can be helpful to know as a greeter. Make sure you know all the children's church assistants. Check to see who the children's church assistant is for the day. It's posted in the bulletin. Oftentimes we'll send the bulletins out in advance to those members that are on our mailing directory. Make a short list in mind of people from your service who usually arrive early to the service that you could introduce to a visitor or connect them with, okay? Let those members know you have them in mind for such an activity and why, okay? Hey, you're this way. You're very warm. You're very green. You have a wonderful smile. You're very friendly. As a greeter, I'm going to maybe bring visitors to you. Do you mind me doing that? Let them know so they can be prepared in heart and mind to be a welcoming host for a first-time visitor. Also, anyone on the greeter team should probably be pretty good for this. Ask me, for people's names if you've forgotten them or don't know someone that already knows you and you're wanting to avoid the awkwardness since you think you should already know the member's name, okay? Just a cool thing to do. Come up to me. Hey, I forgot that person. Who's that person? I'll tell you, okay? I've had people do this, and guess what? Now they know the person moving forward. Pray that we will have visitors each week. That's something very good to do. Pray that we will have visitors each week, and then pray for visitors by name if you have visitors that have signed up via Plan Your Visit. All right, so I'm very excited about all this. Look forward to putting this greeter plan in practice and see, if we do a better job just having visitors come back a second, third, fourth time, and then becoming members from this. But this is just one small aspect. You got the greeter team, you need a follow-up team, and then you need like becoming a member team, and then you need like onboarding assimilation team once a person's become a member. So there's all sorts of interesting facets of bringing people into the body of Christ, and this is stuff that we can use our research, our life experiences, and just good first article gifts, Lutheran term, first article gifts. So God is the creator. He's made us with wonderful minds in the image of God. We can explore his creation. We can explore community, relationship building. A lot of this stuff may not necessarily be in the Bible, but these are things that we can learn through social studies, and what helps people to feel welcomed and loved, and use the gifts and faculties that God has given us to bless and greet people and make them feel welcome when they visit God's house. God's peace to you. Hope you found this helpful, and if you did, drop a comment in the link, drop a comment below. You can check the description. I'll probably put a link to Chris Abbott and his videos. You can see what he put together that I found very helpful. And then, if you're watching this and you live in Lilburn or near Lilburn, Georgia, love to have you at Oak Grove Lutheran Church. God's peace to you.